Good evening all. Another beautiful day down in the southwest of England, County Cornwall. We'll be on Tuesday night, so I'm a little bit all over the place. So I was went to Birmingham Sunday afternoon, evening, and then came back yesterday, and yes, all the days are blurring into one. But yes, so match review. Saturday's lunchtime kickoff, dinner time kickoff. Excuse me. Leeds 2, Newcastle United 2. Is this a point gained or 2 points dropped? I think the result, if you'd have said a draw prior to kickoff, I would have said 2 points dropped, because we had nothing to fear. I know Leeds are fighting for their lives. They would have had been galvanised in some way by Big Sam coming in. You know, whatever you think of him tactically, what he said about being compared to Pep and Jurgen, whatever, that's by the by. He is. I've never met the guy. I don't really know an awful lot about him, but I imagine he's a strong character, a motivator. Demands 100% from his players, and demands that they leave everything on the pitch. 100% as a professional athlete in any sport is, in my mind, the bare minimum requirement. The prerequisite to being a professional athlete is giving 100%. But so that they would have been revved up and they're fighting for their lives down in the bottom three. We know this. Right, my phone is bobbling all over the place. Let's see if I can just tighten it up a little bit. Heard a click. Right, okay, there we go. I do apologise for the sound. I've got some iPhone headphones with the microphone set in. I'm a bit of a tech mong, so I'm going to probably start doing more videos if I can suss that out at home as opposed to in the car. But there we go. So Leeds were fighting for their lives. But what have we got to fear? We've got perhaps not the equal motivation, because I think staying in the league, there's more motivation for that than there is going for the Champions League. We're fighting for top four, fighting to get in the Champions League, the premier club competition in Europe. And at the end of the day, we were third from the top, they're third from the bottom. So if you'd have said a 2-2 draw, particularly a 2-2 draw and our 2 goals were from penalties, I would have said, fucking hell, we obviously didn't play that well. We didn't. Certain players are performing below par at present. I'm not going to pick them out and shit on them and say they were shit, but they're performing below par, below their usual standards. I'm looking at the obvious two are Sven Botman and Bruno Guimaraes. Now, I'm not saying those two cost us the game, but they're performing below their usual levels, which then has a knock-on effect to the rest of the team and our capabilities. Kieran Tripper's another one. Fabian Schär potentially. We are also missing, and tell you what, Sean Longstaff's stock as a Newcastle player has never been higher, and he's not even playing at the minute, because it's just showing that he is such a vital cog in that midfield three of whether that be Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Linton, or whether it be Bruno and Joe Willock alongside Sean Longstaff. He is so vital, and his tactical awareness, his running, his fitness, his positional play are just so vital to this team, and it is glaringly obvious now more than ever. Now, I've got my brother-in-law staying with me at the minute, Man United fan. We were talking about transfers earlier. I was saying about who would I keep if I was the Manchester United manager in terms of midfielders. I said, I'd probably offload McTominay but keep Fred. I think out of the two, he's the better. He said, oh, well, you guys are in for McTominay, aren't you? And I was like, no, surely not, because he does not improve what we've already got. Now, on the ball, in every aspect of being a football player, McTominay is arguably better than Sean Longstaff. Arguably, in terms of, I'm talking every aspect: first touch, dribbling, tackles, shooting, scoring goals, Variety of position. Obviously, he's played centre half for Scotland. He's played international football. You take everything into account, and I don't think there's an awful lot between them. I would still argue that Sean's better, because I think he's a tremendous football player. He's gone under the radar. But in terms of his importance and his value to the team, it is unquestionable at the minute that we are struggling in midfield without him. Now, whether that is the players are tired, it's coming up to the end of a grueling season, that Newcastle have played every game pretty much at breakneck speed. Whether that's majority of the time we've been on top, we've been the team pushing the pace. At times we've been the nail and the other team's been the hammer, and we've been having to keep pace and keep up with teams. But it's unquestionable that we're perhaps suffering from a bit of tiredness, a bit of fatigue at this moment. Whether it's that, whether it's just Sean is such a vital cog that Bruno, it's like the domino effect, it then affects all our phases of play, what we're able to do. But the passing's off at the minute. There's a bit of hesitancy in defence, where Botman and Cher previously would have just snuffed something out immediately. They gave the Leeds players a bit of time, just maybe a second or two, just to think, get the ball under control. They're like, right, I'm going to let you take a touch, I'll deal with you when you run at me. When previously in the season it's been cut out immediately at source, root and stem. Positives. Callum Wilson. That's, I believe, okay, it is your right away, but thank you very much, thank you. Callum Wilson, I believe that's 17 Premier League goals. Now, the only English players ahead of him is Ivan Toney on 19 and Harry Kane on 24, 25, whatever he's on. So Callum Wilson, on his current performance, is the third best striker in the England team. 17 goals, 2 penalties, cool as a cucumber. First one, lovely, rolled bottom left. The goalkeeper went the right way, but it was such a well struck penalty. That was that. The second one, roof of the net, straight down the middle, cool. And he was getting stick from the crowd. Obviously, you'd expect that. That's no problem. The goalkeeper was gobbing off. The goalkeeper got a yellow card, I think, for gobbing off. A few of the other Leeds players were trying to get in his head. Not a problem. Bang. There you go. And we went 2-1 up at that moment. In that moment. One of the major disappointments, apart from, I'm not going to go on about the Leeds opening goal really, because it was a good save by Pope, but it was just one of those things. Johnny on the spot, Luke Ayling, I think it's Luke Ayling. I know he used to play for Yeovil Town, up the Glovers. He used to live in Yeovil. And he was just Johnny on the spot. You know, 9 times out of 10, the right back's not there. I mean, you could say Isak or Isaac should have been tracking him, but 9 times out of 10, your right back's not in that position. Fox in the box, 6 yards out, so, or in the 6-yard box. So that's just one of those. The second Leeds goal to equalise and go 2-2, that was disappointing because it was a deflection. I'm not going to say Trippier was being a wuss, but if he'd have went forward to block the ball wholeheartedly, and if he was fully committed to the block, that wouldn't have happened. But it's milliseconds, it's millimeters, it's the fine margins, you know. Perhaps he thought he got enough on it. He obviously didn't want to do a Jonathan Woodgate against Athletic Bilbao for Real Madrid and get his head to it, and it ends up in his own net as an own goal. I mean, it's technically an own goal anyway, but you know what I'm trying to say. But my major disappointment is that the lack of quality in passing. We should have jumped on them after we went 1-0, because they scored early. They've then missed a penalty. Great save by Nick Pope, by the way. We've then scored our own penalty 2 minutes later. That's a real kick in the teeth. If we'd gone 2-1 before half time, that changes everything. Okay. We allowed, and the major disappointment, the overriding factor, was we went 2-1, scored the second pen. and then we allowed them back into the game. Whereas previously, we've seen the game out. You know, we allowed them. We sat back and invited pressure on, and then obviously it must have been in some of the players' minds. Bobbling all over the place here. Some of the players' minds, right? We'll hit them on the break. We got pace. We got Isaac, Maxi, and Anthony Gordon came on. Prior to that, you obviously got Miggy and Callum Wilson. Miggy's rapid. Callum Wilson's not one of our pace merchants, but he's not slow. Joe Willock's rapid from midfield. You know, Joe Linton, when he gets up to speed, is a driving force. So perhaps we got a bit complacent and thought, right, we'll hit them on the break here, especially when they went down to 10. But we allowed them back into the game. We invited pressure. That second goal was lucky. All 4 goals in the game were lucky, really. You know, I think any time you get a penalty, there's an element of luck, because you're awarded an opportunity as opposed to carving it out yourself. I know people say, oh, we won a penalty for a player being fouled. I don't see it that way. The first goal, like I already touched on, 9 times out of 10 your right back's not going to be in that position. And then the fourth goal, huge deflection. I believe, don't quote me, but the guy who struck the shot, I think he's one of their. He's a defensive player, whether he be a fullback. Well, he's not a fullback because Aylin's their right back and he's a right-footed player. He's a defensive midfield player or a centre half. I can't remember which. What can you say? We let them back in the game. I text my mate Brad, who I've mentioned on this channel umpteen times, saying, can't see this finishing 2-2, or can't see us getting a winner. I was watching the game with Nick, the Man United fan, my brother-in-law. I was like, I can't see this finishing 2-2. It's going to be 3-3 if it's a draw. I was wrong in that regard. Finished 2-2. Tricky. Looking at the last 4, in terms, and I know this is hindsight, but I think I said this prior to kickoff. In terms of motivation, when you take into account the location of the game, the motivation of the opposition, that could be our most difficult game. I know they're in the bottom 3, but that could be our most difficult game. So you look at the 4 games. Chelsea got nothing to play for. Chelsea just playing for pride, and that's at St James's Park. So it's our home. No, it's not. It's away. So away, tricky, but they got nothing to play for. We hopefully won't have anything to play for, but we might do. So I'm working from the last game back to current events. Leicester, all right, scrapping for their lives. Okay, ticks that box. But it's at St James's Park, our favour. Brighton, scrapping, pushing to finish in a European place. Okay, but it's at St James's Park. Same as Leicester, similar. Leeds game, scrapping for their lives, and at Ellen Road. So both things, both of those 2 elements were playing against us. I know we're pushing, I know we're in the top 3, so there's an antidote to every argument I put across. But just looking at those two elements, 2 factors, up to 4 games, the Leeds away, you could argue is the trickiest game. Okay, so where does that leave us now? One of the reasons I've been busy, but one of the reasons I've left this video now is because I wanted to see how Liverpool got on last night. So I believe, forgive me, but I believe we're 3rd. I can't remember the goal difference, but we're 3rd, 66 points. Manchester United 3rd, 66 points. Both teams have played 35 games. Liverpool 5th, so Newcastle 3rd, played 35, 66 points. Manchester United 4th, played 35, 66 points. Liverpool 5th, 65 points, 1 point behind. However, the crucial factor is they've played 36 games. So both Manchester United and Newcastle have a game in hand, and all we have to do is match the results of Manchester United and Liverpool, and we will finish in the top 4. Barring Manchester United scoring bags and bags and bags Obviously, if they win a couple of games 10-0, we will finish 4th on the goal difference. However, matching them will be enough. The maximum, I know it's obvious, the maximum Liverpool can get is 71 points, right? The maximum we can get is 75 points. Okay. So we can afford to lose a game, but we need to win it too. So as long as we do the business at SJP in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, we will finish as James's. We will finish in the Champions League. Okay. It's nerve-wracking. I put on one of the football group chats last night, Liverpool will get in the top 4, mark my words. Premature, I know, but that was a little bit of panic. Our trickiest, I've already said, in terms of location and motivation, our trickiest games are the way. We got the second trickiest now. Brighton, I believe they got a game in hand over everyone else. They're pushing, I think they're, Liverpool, I think they're 7th, pushing for Europa League. Okay, been going well all season, bar that shock, crazy freak result against Everton at home the other day. They've been going very well, playing some fantastic football, real good football. But they have to come to SJP, which will be a cauldron, an absolute cauldron of noise, passion, excitement, emotion. You could argue expectation. The saving grace is, unlike Arsenal, it is in our hands. Okay, if we look after our own results, the table will look after itself. End of story. That's the bottom line. We cannot leave it to other people, to other teams to do us favours. We look after our results, we will be in the Champions League. 17 and a half minutes I've been talking now, near enough to the second. Bosh, 17 and a half minutes. My final point, because that wasn't Newcastle's best day. We've had better performances this season. We will see better performances before the end of this season, I've no doubt. Okay, who's going to come in for the next game, I don't know. I might cover that a little bit tomorrow night, because obviously we've got the game on Thursday. Is it still imperative? Is it imperative that we get Champions League? Sounds mad. We're in 3rd place. You obviously, every single season, you want to finish as high as you can. Are we ready for it? Are we ready for it? I've said it a few times. I said it on a video a while ago. I don't feel like we must get Champions League. If we finish 5th, it's still an unbelievable achievement. Okay, it's still a fantastic season. What an improvement over last season. Okay, we've made giant strides. We've come on so far, on and off the pitch. And if we finish 5th, it will feel disappointing, because we've been in the top 4 for the vast majority of the season. We've been 3rd for a large chunk of the season. Okay, are we ready as a squad depth? Another competition. Are we ready for the Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday? Okay, I mean, there's no guarantee that we'll get out the group stage. For a first year in the Champions League for what, coming on 20 years, there's been no expectation to get out the group stage, or there shouldn't be, really. How will that impact our league form? I think one of the cups will have to be sacrificed early. Say sacrificed, resting players for the competitions. We're going to have to recruit strongly and get rid of some dead wood. I'm looking mainly at players coming back off loan. I'm not trying to victimise anyone, but Jeff Hendrick would be a prime example. I think it's time for him to move on permanently. You could argue the same, although he's been a favourite of mine for years, Isaac Hayden. Time to move on permanently. Matt Ritchie, I think perhaps his time at the club is over. I don't know, it's not my job to summer to recruit, to be ready for at least, what we're talking, extra 6 games. That's at least. Okay. It's going to be interesting going forward. Please tell me what you think. Leave your comments. Am I talking rubbish? Am I being negative? Okay, I pride myself on being an extremely positive Newcastle fan. However, I carry with me over a decade and a half of experience, cynicism, skepticism of it's too good to be true. Is it going to go tits up? The fact that I'm questioning, are we going to get in the top 4 or should we get in the top 4, is evident to that. I want Newcastle to win as much as anyone, believe you me, but I just worry that next season is going to be very, very hard. Chelsea will sort themselves out. Liverpool will come again. Arsenal and Man City will strengthen. Manchester United are on the verge of a takeover. They will go from strength to strength. Tottenham will have a new manager. Villa are on the rise. Brentford are there. Brighton and Fulham are improving. You know, if ever there is an opportunity to get in the Champions League, it is this season. However, it's going to be doubly hard next season. We've not been lucky because we've earned the right. The points on the board tell that story. The performances tell that story. The individual performances. I'm looking at Callum Wilson, Isaac, Miguel Almiron, Bruno, Joe Linton, Trippier, 1 to 11. Then off the bench, Maxi early in the season against Man City, unbelievable. Jacob Murphy going above and beyond. Okay. Nick Pope, what a buy. Sven Botman, I hate saying it because everyone says it about any centre back that can fucking pass the ball nowadays, but he is a Rolls Royce. I'm going to change it up. He's a Range Rover. Range Rover of a centre back, a BMW X5, if you will. I would say a Ford Cougar as I'm driving now, but that's not quite luxurious enough, is it? I just worry a little bit, but anyway, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you like what I'm talking about. Thank you for watching, much appreciated, and I will see you all soon. Hopefully we get a result on Thursday night. I will be watching the edge of my seat, shaking like a leaf with excitement and nerves. Once again, thank you for watching, much appreciated. Take care.